Good afternoon. So today we are diving into two headlines that say a lot about the state of American politics and how it's reported and how it's distorted. Senator Alex Padilla is blaming Donald Trump's first campaign for political tension in the wake of a deadly Minnesota shooting. And over 200 Democrats are now defending Padilla's own behavior at a DHS press briefing after he was physically removed and handcuffed. It's dramatic, it's partisan, and it's very revealing. Welcome to Nellie Miranda. Before we get into today's video, please make sure you like and subscribe as it really helps support the channel. Now, let's begin.
Ranking member on the Senate Rules Committee, which oversees the Capitol Police. What, if anything, can you tell us about the state of security for lawmakers, given what's happening in Minnesota?
Yeah, look, a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, and work directly with both the U.S. Capitol Police and the Senate Sergeant at Arms, and they're doing what they need to do to ensure the safety of members of Congress. But I also think it's more than appropriate to step back and say, why are tensions so high? Mm-hmm. Not just in Los Angeles, but throughout the country. And I can't help but point to the beginning of not just the first Trump term, but the beginning of the campaign. The tone with which the president has launched his first campaign for president, served throughout his first term, and continues in this term.
This is Senator Padilla on Face the Nation. He says Trump's 2015 campaign rhetoric, quote, ignited the political tension behind this month's tragic shootings in Minnesota, where a deranged gunman killed 2 and injured several others, including lawmakers. So let me get this straight. A man disguises himself in a police uniform, breaks into people's homes with a rifle, and somehow that's Trump's fault? That's not analysis. That's opportunism. This isn't about rhetoric, but about radical ideology and personal responsibility. Reports says that the shooter had a list, 70 names, state senators, and political figures. So we have a politically motivated, targeted home invasion, and the media narrative is Trump made him do it. That's reckless. Now, to be clear, political violence should never be tolerated from the left or the right, and my heart goes out to the families involved. It's both disturbing and heartbreaking. But what Democrats are doing here is dangerous. They're saying a campaign speech from 10 years ago caused violence. Yet they stay silent when BLM protests turn into riots, or when left-wing activists harass judges at their homes, or when ICE, doing their job, leads to riots. Where's the consistency? In 2020, left-wing riots cost over $2 billion in damages. Churches were burned. Courthouses were vandalized. Police assaulted. No one blamed Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or Barack Obama. So why is Trump always the scapegoat? Because blaming Trump is convenient. It's easy. It's politically profitable. But let's move on. Senator Alex Padilla didn't just make headlines for his Sunday's talk show appearance. He also made a scene at a Department of Homeland Security press briefing. And this time, he got escorted out in handcuffs.
Guys ready? And bells. Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
hands off.
How many of our ICE agents have been docked?
That's right. On June 12th, Padilla showed up to a DHS event in Los Angeles. He interrupted Secretary Kristi Noem before questions even began. He refused to wait, refused to follow protocol, and security removed him physically. So even in kindergarten, we're taught if you have a question, silently raise your hand and wait to be called upon before just blurting out. Perhaps the entitlement just got to him. Now, do you think, okay, he broke decorum, it happens, but here's the twist. Over 200 Democrats signed a letter blasting the federal agents and defending Padilla's behavior. They're calling it unprecedented, unconstitutional, and even a threat to democracy.
I just saw something that sickened my stomach. The manhandling of a United States senator We need immediate answers to what the hell went on.
If you could make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop?
Let's have an independent investigation. Senator Padilla was trying to do his job.
So what is your reaction to this episode, Joe, and those comments from Democratic leaders?
This is, Carly, basically a complete and total perfect microcosm of what we have seen from the Democratic Party over the last 4 months since Donald Trump took office. Performance art. That is performance art. You cannot storm in like a maniac, like the senator did, into a press conference that the DHS secretary was holding, Kristi Noem, and expect to be above the law. He wanted this. This is exactly what Democrats want. They want the narrative that, oh, wow, look, now Donald Trump's administration is doing this to sitting senators. No, I'm sorry. We have heard that nobody is above the law, but Mr. Padilla thought he was.
According to that letter, Padilla clearly identified himself and was exercising his role as a senator. They said his removal undermines congressional oversight. But here's the reality. This wasn't a Senate hearing. It was a DHS press event. It wasn't the time for cross-examination, and it especially wasn't the time or the setting for grandstanding. This was a planned security briefing, not a circus. If Senator Padilla wanted answers, there are proper channels, committee hearings, closed-door sessions, or he could have waited for an appropriate time to raise his hand and ask a question. But that's not what this is about. This was about optics, it was about drama, and about headlines. Here's what some reps had to say about the drama.
What's your reaction to what happened to Padilla, Senator Padilla?
That was crazy. I think optics are pretty bad for Democrat men as a whole. I mean, he aggressively was approaching her. Obviously, security saw that as a threat. I know after the fact, she actually was gracious enough after he pulled that to talk with him for a little bit and then exchange numbers. But the fact is that he's a sitting senator and he's acting like, you know, a weirdo. I don't know how else to describe it other than you should not act like that, period, and especially not show aggression like that towards women.
I'll be issuing a statement on it shortly. It's a disgusting situation.
What do you think about the optics of that?
Well,
the way it looks on
the first
video.
thing that comes to mind is, why isn't he here voting? I mean, I just like, the Senate's in session. I just did a press conference with senators. I know they're in session. So why isn't he here doing that? And then second, why not just wait and do your own press conference? Like, the press is there, the cameras are there, the microphones are there. If you wait till Secretary Noem is done and then you tell him you want to say a few things, you would cover them. Everyone will cover. You're a journalist. Everyone will cover them. So to me, those are the two takeaways. Is why not just do it the common sense way instead of going in and making a scene.
Jim Jordan is funny. The face expressions, the
Senate's in session. I just did a press conference with senators. I know they're in session. So why is he here doing?
Why did he have to do all that? Okay, let's get serious. And now, the lawmakers who preach about norms and democratic institutions are backing this political stunt like it's some kind of Rosa Parks moment when it's not. It's a senator disrupting a press conference to create a viral moment. And the media just eats it up. Here's what we're seeing. First, blame Trump for a domestic terror attack with no evidence. Then storm a DHS event and cry censorship when you're escorted out. And then finally, get 200 of your buddies to call it unprecedented while ignoring protocol and the rule of law. I think we're seeing a pattern here. This is not about protecting democracy or protecting the republic. It's about staging political theater while undermining public trust. Every time it's the same playbook. Turn tragedy into political blame. Turn disruption into victimhood. Turn accountability into authoritarianism. So what can we take away from all of this? Number one, political violence should be condemned without selective outrage. Number two, public officials are not above protocol or process, no matter their title. And number three, if Democrats want to preach about preserving institutions, then they should start by respecting the ones that we already have. Do you think Padilla's actions were justified, or just another example of political theatrics? And Do you believe Democrats are using Trump as a scapegoat to distract from real problems? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if honest commentary brings you value, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps support the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.